Well, the Sharks are like Eiffel 65. They're feeling blue, dabu dee dabu die. They lose this one. We'll talk about this, the road trip, their power play woes, or are they? Right now, this is Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night, November 18th, 2021. The San Jose Sharks are on the downside of a 4-1 result to the St. Louis Blues, and we welcome you to this edition of Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every single game, so if you want to be part of the show, here is how you're going to do it. Chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course our Discord after the show. And find everything at tealtownusa.com. And with that, we say good evening to you. I am Erik Kuhre alongside Mr. Al Martinet.
Hello, everyone. This is going to be therapy after dark at this point, but yeah, plenty to talk about, but it's not all good.
Yeah, that was not good. Like icing on the power play. I mean, and we'll get to some of this. We'll get to some of that in here. You know how the FD don't get at least one power play refs, man. I mean, we'll get into that. That's
yeah.
that's going to be a sore subject, I think, for a lot of us on this night. But at the same time, though, Al, I mean, this team looked tired and looked like it was ready to go home.
I mean, that, and also St. Louis lost to potentially one of the worst teams in the last couple of years, the Phoenix Coyotes, or Arizona Coyotes, excuse me, Desert Dogs.
Oh, take the drink. There we go.
Yeah.
Come on.
But no, like, this is the St. Louis coming off of a really bad performance against the Coyotes. And from the opening draw, they had something to prove tonight. And, you know, like, I think even like James Reimer kind of knew that the Sharks were not off to a good start in that first period. Just the way he was slowing the puck down every chance he could.
Yeah, they looked tired. They looked a little lack of focus, lackluster. That fire that was kind of lit before the game against Minnesota just didn't seem like it was there all the way in this one tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fifth game in their final road trip. So, and obviously they're now 2 for 3, and it's been 2 for 3. They won against Calgary, but even that game, like, Hill had to make 40 plus saves, and most of them were he got helped out from a couple of posts. But even like going down the list, you're looking at the results. It's like against Winnipeg, it's 4-1 loss. Against Colorado, 6-2 loss. Of course, Minnesota is the big bright spot, and that's probably one of their better games they've played tonight. But the Sharks tend to play pretty well against Minnesota. It's just one of those things.
Right.
So if you're looking at this road trip, you're 2 and 3, but you know, I don't want to say like the Anaheim Ducks are running away with the Pacific, but you kind of need to keep pace.
Yeah, the Ducks with 8 wins in a row. I mean, it's unreal to see what they've done, and they've definitely turned the tide quicker than I think a lot of people expected. You know, they were prognosticated to kind of battle Seattle. Wow, that rhymed. For like last for some people, and it just is going that way. So getting some comments from the locker room already. Bob Bugner saying the Blues were desperate and came out hard. We had good looks early and didn't capitalize. We couldn't get a power play call. We got worn down on the kill and couldn't catch up.
I mean, I didn't think they earned any power play calls. Like, even the penalty kills or the penalties that they took were all like, yeah, that's tripping, that's that's slashing, that's hooking. Like, again, you have to put yourself in the situation, the position to get power plays, and they never really did this tonight.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of them in there. Once you're chasing the game, you can't get up. Son of RD tried to make high danger plays. Second period was bad. Yeah, let's just get right into it here early on. 3 seconds in, Middleton and Bertuzzo drop the gloves. I mean, kind of a mini battle. Bertuzzo kind of goes down after Middleton, gets a little shot in. I didn't think it was a KO.
No, I mean, like, again, they just came off of losing to the Desert Dogs, and I'm only gonna do it once.
You're gonna get me super hydrated after this one, but go ahead.
But like, it was more of just a tone setter. Like, wake up the guys, get them going. It's a weird 5 o'clock start, so that might have been something to it. But like, we're still talking about the Central here, so yeah. That's what, 6 in St. Louis. So,
7 in St. Louis.
Yeah, 7 St. Louis. So, they came to play from the very beginning.
Yeah, and they were really out there. They were down, I think they lost 4 in a row. And, of course, like you mentioned, to the Coyotes. It's going to be you expected them to take on people, but you also expected them to come out with some gusto at the end there. But early on, as we said, there's the fight. Then it looks like Logan Couture gets a goal to make it 1-0 Sharks, but St. Louis challenges it, and it's an offside call. So, unfortunately...
and this one wasn't really close either. I mean, like, obviously, you kind of could tell from, like, even watching in real time, but, man, like, it really was... I don't know who was offsides. I think that was 39, I think it was.
Oh, that would be Logan Couture?
I'm looking at 30, whatever. He was still off by quite a bit.
Yeah, it was a quick review. That's this whole offsides call. So it was a tough one, but unfortunately, it kind of changed the tide of this game. So moving onward, you get LeBanc taking a penalty, and that was a nasty penalty. That slew foot, and I don't care if he's on your team or not. That's a dumb move and a dangerous move in my mind for a tripping call.
Yeah, and it could have probably been even more. Maybe even like maybe a 5 minute, and you just toss out LeBanc. But it was only a 2 minute. But this is one of the few times I didn't watch most of the Colorado game, but this was one of the few times that the penalty kill just looked kind of pathetic against how good the Blues power play has been this season. And they've been either 1 or number 2 on power play. And the Sharks have been pretty decent on the power play this year, but I'm not too sure if, like, this is probably one of their worst outings.
Yeah, no, it wasn't their best. And, of course, it ends up giving up a goal to frickin' Brandon Saad. Brandon Saad. He gets his 5th goal this season from let me see here. I'm trying to catch up here. O'Reilly and Perron, and so that makes it a 1-0 St. Louis on that one. And so it was a tough one all around. And we have one of our special guests coming in. Kurt, are you with us there? Maybe not.
Just keep going.
Yeah, we'll just keep moving on. We'll Kurt, when you're ready to go, just let me know, and we'll get you back in here. But after 20 minutes, 1-0, and I thought it was still not too bad, even though with shots, at 16-13 now.
Again, this is another slow first period. Kind of a trend on most of the season right now. And even like the bigger trend for me this year has been the Sharks' Achilles heel is they just can't get the puck out of their own zone. The first 2 goals were mostly just defensive turnovers that were just really careless. And they got to clean that up because against the St. Louis, against even teams like Vegas, like you're gonna get bullied by them.
With us, joining us now, Curt Price, our good friend from Let's Go Blues Radio. Curt, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Just talked about the first period of this game with Saad getting the power play goal to make it 1-0. What were your thoughts on a strong first period? I thought for both teams, actually. Curt, can you hear me? Curt?
Raise your hand if you're in a hostage situation.
Can you hear me? Uh-oh. This isn't... Curt, if you can hear me, just let me know. But we will keep going with the second period here. A minute 35 in, Robert Thomas gets a nice pass from Pavel.
I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear you guys.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Curt, how are you, bud? Maybe. Oh, man. Let me try and add him in again in a sec here. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Let me try you again. 1 sec here. Oh, boy. I might lose you for a second, Al, so let me get this here. And you just have me for a moment here, folks. Let's try this again here as we get both gangs back up there. Al, you're with me. Curt, you with me? Huh. All right. We'll keep pressing on here, but second period.
You have the names in the wrong place.
Yeah, I know. This is what happens with Skype. Oh, you gotta love it.
Okay.
Curt, can you hear me now?
Sorry. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened there.
Cool. We're glad to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Yeah. All kinds of problems. I had sent you some DMs and then I was waiting to hear back from you, and I'm like, refresh my screen. My DMs were gone. I'm like, what happened? They weren't sending. I don't know what happened. So like, yeah, sorry, my bad. I'm not sure what happened.
All good. Thank you for joining us, bud. What did you think about that first period with the Saad goal and everything? I thought the LeBanc penalty was very dangerous, but overall, I thought fairly even for both teams, despite the Blues having the edge with the goal.
Yeah. The penalty, you never want to see that. I thought, especially with the Subban stuff recently in the news too, with this slew foot trip from behind kind of thing. It's, I don't care who it is. I heard you guys talking about it. It's not something you want to see at all for anybody. I've seen Blues players do it in the past too. It's just a cringy thing. So it's, shots were 13, 16, pretty even in the first. With the way the Blues have been playing recently, they're losers of 4 straight, and 2 pretty good efforts since Carolina and Edmonton just losing late, and then a stinker against Arizona. And as a fan base, we're like, come on, we're better than this, right? And hopefully, and I was just waiting for the team to kind of like, punish somebody because they've been playing so poorly. And first period, was entertaining. And then as the game went on, they, kind of pulled away, and I was like, okay, so this is, and the Blues, I think the Blues kind of took some of the frustrations out tonight a little bit of their poor play recently.
Yeah, when you lose to the Coyotes and then have 4 in a row, just a nightmare all around. And then, of course, the Sharks come into town, and, well, lovely.
Well, they were talking about after the infamous hand pass game.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
No, the Blues have the Sharks have had a hard time with the Blues since that game. If you don't go back that far,
yeah,
so it's more or less, right? So I'm not sure what the record is, but I know that I know the Sharks have had a hard time since then.
It hasn't been close.
It hasn't been pretty. It's been uglier than Jordan Binnington taking a swing and a miss at Erik Karlsson.
Oh man. Well, the whole fake punch made you flinch thing.
Yeah.
Of course he flinched. You're gonna hit me in the face.
Yeah, right.
Who wouldn't flinch, right?
Right. Who would?
Would you rather have the fake punch in the face, or would you rather have the stick swing from against Kadri that which pick your poison with Bennington, right?
Yeah. Is there something going on with him or something?
He's kind of hit or miss with his antics with Blues fans. I like entertainment, and he's not. I mean, he's not hurting anybody. He's kind of making a fool of himself at times with that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, if he's trying to rally his team, it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. It's and I totally get why a lot of fans can't stand the guy, because he's got that. I mean, if he ain't on your team, he's an easy guy to dislike for stuff like that.
Or just to get under his skin pretty quickly, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's getting under his skin or if that's just how he is. Because I don't think it doesn't seem to affect his play. Like if he gets, necessarily. Maybe just who he is. He has a weird personality, so maybe that's just him.
Is Bennington still the long-term solution for a goaltender for the Blues? Because he just signed that huge contract going forward.
Yep.
I think it's 4 years or 5 years, but
6 years. 6 years. 6 years, $6 million per.
So you're kind of locking him up, but we had to deal with Martin Jones at the very end. Is there any worry about that situation for Bennington?
I mean, I think with any goaltender that you sign a longer-ish term deal, it's not a crazy long deal. It's not a DiPietro deal by any means, but it's forgot
about that one.
Well, Blues aren't going to be paying him for 12 years from now. But with goaltending's fickle, I think in the past this is a different direction for the Blues. The Blues have not committed long term to a goalie ever. I mean, well, in a long time. So this is kind of uncharted waters for the Blues. And in the past, they've been kind of guilty of giving up on goalies too early, or sending good goalies out when they probably shouldn't have. But I was totally on board with the 6 years, $6 million. I don't think it's not a crazy long contract. It's long, but it's not crazy long. It's not a dollar wise. It's about right based on his production. He won a cup, and it's not out of this world. But he is a long-term solution right now for the Blues. I think goaltending, we're looking pretty good with a couple prospects. Husso just came up last year, had a rough year last year. Good finish, has looked good this year. Looked good tonight. And Hofer, who came up for Husso when Husso was out with COVID, and Hofer looked okay. So I mean, but Bennington's it for now, and I think he's if he is not the leading candidate for to start for Team Canada, he's up there for the Olympics. So we'll he's done the job. I think we talk on our show about him being good enough in net. He's not going to be a top 5, top 3, 4 goalie in the league. He's not going to be a Vezina guy necessarily, but he's pretty solid. He's pretty good, can go on tears, and he's good enough to win a cup, obviously. So I think they're on board with him, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, the cap is going to go up in 3 or 4 years, so
sometime. Yeah,
we hope.
Hopefully,
at some point.
We're hoping with Erik Karlsson.
No kidding.
Oh
right?
yeah. That is rough. That is rough when you got a stagnant cap and you've got a contract like that on the books, and you hope the cap goes up if you're spending to the cap, and then you can make room to sign other players. But if it doesn't go up, then you're kind of stuck with what you got. Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah, try that with 3 other players.
Yeah. Well, you know what? A few years down the road, the Blues might have that to some degree. Not with what does Karlsson make? 10? 11?
11
and a half.
Yeah.
Burns makes 8. Vlasic makes 8 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah. But the Blues don't have one guy making that much money, but we've got a number of guys making 6, 7, 6, 7, 8. So, and the long-term deals, so that we could be feeling a cap pinch in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not going to feel it right away, but maybe down the road, you might be in the issue where the Sharks are at this moment. But
and I think it's trying to go for it while your cup window is still open. I think
sure.
If the Blues do feel their cup window is still open, and they've said that they think it is, and they're on the fringe with that. So I think you go for it now and you pay for it later. I'm totally fine with that.
It got you one cup. Why not?
Yeah, right. I know. So why not go for it again?
Yeah, for sure. Moving onward to the second period, this seems to be one of the things that bite the Sharks in the butt every now and then, and it catches up twice this game. Robert Thomas with his second goal of the season from Buchnevich, and let me try this here.
Perunovich.
Yeah, that. Yeah. Perunovich with his first NHL point on this one. Nice setup play to feed Thomas for his second goal, Kurt. Thomas has been one of those guys that we've kind of seen over the last couple of years. He gets his second. Another promising young forward in the Blues depth chart.
Thomas is a lot of excitement around Thomas. If you watch him game in and game out, you see a guy who a good description of him would be like a wizard with the puck. His vision is ridiculous. The best passer on the team by far. Has to be one of the better passers in the league. I think he just needs that experience now. He's still pretty young. Started he was playing when he was 19 in 2019, so he's still pretty young. So I like him here a lot. One of my favorite players. So he's fun to watch.
Yep. Unfortunately, the Sharks would follow that up not even a minute later with a tripping call by Gadjevich. Fortunately for the Sharks, and Blues don't do anything on that one. But then the Sharks would have one bright moment, and that would be a goal from Jonathan Dahlen, his 7th of the season. Al ties the rookie scoring lead with Raymond and Zegras.
Yep, 7 goals. Yeah, he's been more of the pleasant surprises because, we just drafted William Eklund, and if you were to have come into the season, you would have thought it would have been the William Eklund show, not the Dahlen show.
Right.
So, this was a pretty good move by Doug Wilson. I believe it was only a 1-year contract. So whatever they do going forward next season, I'm interested to see what the average cap hit's going to be like. Because he's been one of the more consistent forwards this season, and he's shown improvement from game to game.
I think on that play, was it Perron and O'Reilly were left defending in front of the net on that play. So that was a nice take advantage of the situation there by San Jose to a nice play, thrown it in front, quick shot through Husso's legs, and you get two forwards playing defense in front of the goal. That's a recipe for disaster.
And Meyer was getting tied up behind the net and made a nice handy pass over to sorry, bad pun, to Dahlen for the goal. But guys, Timo Meyer really has stepped up late. I mean, he's played in 11 games this season. He missed outside of the one
Winnipeg
game against was it Winnipeg or Montreal?
Winnipeg, because he scored the game winner against Winnipeg and then was out for the next 6.
Yeah, he missed those games, and I think outside the one game against Montreal, he scored in every game. So for a guy, as I'm looking at Cap Friendly now, for a guy that's making $6 million and he's got 2 more, he's got this year, next year, and then that qualifying offer. He's really Booner's really liked his game as of late, Al.
I mean, at $6 million, it's not bad. Even next year at $6 million, it's not bad. But the conversation surrounding Timo is always going to be: is he consistent? And will there be a drop off, like let's say like Ryan Clough, who had a couple of really great years, but towards the end of his career, he wasn't as consistent and was injured a lot. He's a young forward, probably one of the cornerstones going forward. It's just that 10 million hit. And right now, I don't think he's a $10 million player.
Not yet. You hope he can progress into that, but you would think he'd have more consistent flashes in it by now. But
yeah, I mean, I like Timo, and he's been pretty good this year. Like 15 points this season, more than Nolan, more than Thorin at this point. But like, again, we just want it to be consistent from year to year.
Yeah, not go on these weird schneids that have lingered through Sharks players for years and years. It seems like 2 minutes later, Brandon frickin' Saad again. It doesn't matter if he wears a Chicago jersey. Last year he destroyed us again when he was with Colorado. This time he gets his second goal of the game, his 6th of the season, his 4th against the Sharks in 2 games. Kurt, why are you doing this to us?
Well, it was a night. I mean, from a Blues fan's perspective, it was nice to see Saad kind of break out tonight a little bit because he had struggled a little bit recently as far as putting the puck on the net. And so he had a good game after he came back from COVID protocol, but kind of disappeared after that. So it was good to see him tally for Blues fans, I guess. Not so much for you guys.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. But that made it 3-1, and I kind of thought that was a backbreaker, especially in the second period where St. Louis outshot the Sharks 19-8. Obviously, big disadvantage. 35 shots after 2 periods. I think it was like only the 3rd time this season that the Sharks allowed 35 plus shots, and that was after 2 periods. So there was one more after that, and unfortunately, oh boy, again, first 2 minutes of a period, and this guy was on it tonight, drawing calls, getting underneath the Sharks' skin. Jordan Kyrou with his 8th goal from Piranha at a minute 9 in. I thought that was probably one of the softer goals Reimer's had all season, but yeah. Kurt, tell me about Jordan Kyrou. I mean, this guy has been all over the place, and he's been on a hot run lately.
He's the Connor McDavid of the Midwest. No. I mean, well, some Blues players referred. I think they were asked about McDavid's goal against the Rangers, where he walked around 47 people and scored. And
they still didn't call a penalty on the play with McDavid, getting surrounded by 47 people. But go on.
Right, exactly. Well, you're allowed to ice 47 people on the to dress 47 people when you're playing McDavid.
Yes.
But yeah, some of the Blues players said, well, Jordan Kyrou is our Connor McDavid. So he's like Connor McDavid light, I guess. But he's fast. He's extremely fast, and he's got a great shot. Really good hands. Stick handles in a phone booth, kind of a thing. And he had a nice year last season, a little streaky. Kind of his breakout year last year, but he was, like I said, streaky. But this year he's been leading point getter. I believe he's still the leading point getter for us, if I check. Yes, he is. So, Blues fans love him. Him and Thomas were the 2 young kids that came up about the same time. So, Kyrou after Thomas, though. So, but yeah, we got the older guys in the team with Falk and Krug and the veterans O'Reilly and stuff, but we've got some youth coming up too with O'Reilly and with Kyrou and Thomas. Perunovic, he got his NHL debut against Arizona and had a nice game tonight too. So
yeah, and looking at it and played well. I mean, the Blues played solid hockey. I mean, Al, like we said before, the Sharks seemed a little tired. It looked like they were ready to go home on this 5-game road trip. But
yeah,
oh, good.
No, again, the Blues had 35 shots at the end of the second period. For this goal in particular, I kind of just see it more as fatigue, even though it's like the first 2 or 3 minutes of the third period. this was his first real like kind of bad goal like he let in this season, but he's been consistent, and this has also been, if I'm correct, I think this is the first back-to-back start for a Sharks goalie. Reimer started against Minnesota. Now he started against the Blues tonight.
Yeah. So
I think the tiredness factor you mentioned was, I'm not sure who it was that had the breakaway and then kind of kind of botched that. That was kind of, I imagine when that happened, Sharks fans were kind of like, well, that's how it's going tonight, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and they've been struggling on the road, and we kind of mentioned it. It's a 5-game road trip. They go 2-3 on it. And the one thing about it is the Sharks did not get a penalty or get a power play in this one. It's the second time in 4 games that it has occurred. And Al, they go on this road trip, 5 games. Just on this road trip alone, they had 7 power plays. Good news is they went 1 for 7, so we'll cover 14%. But
Yeah.
It's been a struggle as of late.
It's been a struggle, but some of that's also like last 7 games, also like COVID protocols, people were in and out. But it also just hasn't looked good on ice. Like you can just kind of look at a power play like the Blues won tonight and just see that they're getting tons of movement, tons of pucks to the net. The Sharks should just not create enough opportunities on their power play. And they're kind of reverting back to, the Burns shot from the blue line, or Erik Karlsson does something like that. It's kind of just been the same formula the past couple of games.
I know the Blues penalty kill since they started the season 5-0, their PK has been awful. Like 27th best coming in tonight since game 5. So I think, it was probably very beneficial to the Blues to not take a penalty in this game. And maybe that was the game plan, do not take penalties, which, you say all the time, who wants to take penalties? But it actually, I can't, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of any calls that were like, oh, that should have been a penalty. I'm sure you guys took notes on a few, but I can't off the top of my head think of any that were missed that were like bad.
There weren't anything that were like significantly egregious that I'm like screaming, in my living room.
It was nothing like the Western Conference Finals.
Right. I know the Sharks guy was so much in that series.
Oh, wow. Talk about slew foots. Kurt going right.
Oh, yeah. I just slew footed the show. That's funny.
Oh, man.
The one I did have an issue with one of the calls tonight that went in the Blues' favor. I didn't think Kuhre was necessarily tripped. I thought he got whacked, he got slashed, but it looked like he kind of jumped after he got slashed and went down pretty easy, unless he toe picked himself. I didn't catch that, but it looked like the slash, and then he just, both of his skates went whoop. I'm like, that's not really how it should have went if he got tripped, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Yep. Hey, if you get them, you get them, and you're fortunate to get them, indeed. So the Sharks lose this one 4-1 to the St. Louis Blues. Again, Meyer, 15 points in 11 games. Saad probably wants to be traded to the Pacific Division if you guys get tired of him, so he can play
trade
the
value.
Sharks more. Yeah, right.
Trade value. Or you can trade for him.
Yeah, that's true too. I don't know if they want to bring in a veteran forward right now, but we shall see. So with that, let's go to some of the comments from the players and coaches. Middleton on the fight at the start of the game with Bertuzzo. He was asking and wanted one early. They lost 4 in a row and was looking to juice his team. I guess it worked.
Okay. Bertuzzo, that's I always find that comical. Bertuzzo asked for a fight, and okay.
Yeah,
let's go.
Like, I'll do my job. I'll fight someone.
Bertuzzo didn't do anything in that fight. If he was trying to rally the team, I mean, the team played well, but it was not because of that fight. He caught one right in the face early, and then he never got a punch away, and then went down early. It was a really bad effort by Bertuzzo in the fight.
That's right. You lose the fight, but win the battle, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
Sometimes that's you got to do what you got to do.
Right?
I get whatever works, right?
Right? So Middleton would go on to say we have a better top to bottom next have to be better top to bottom next game. We gave up high percentage shots. We have to be better in front of Reimer. Let's talk about James Reimer really quick. Poor guy. I mean, yeah, he gave up 4 goals, but saved 44 as the Blues get 48 shots on goal in this game.
Could have been more, because honestly, I felt like the Blues kind of took the gas pedal off in the third period. Just they didn't shoot the puck as much at Reimer as much. This could have been an easy 50, 55 shots on net for him.
And easily, it's got me all choked up here, apparently. Easily the highest shot total the Sharks have given up this season. So it is what it is. It's tough. A lot of people are asking how are these 7 guys feeling, because you're 1-2 since they've come back from COVID protocol. And Middleton saying, personally, I feel well right now physically. The road trip is over, and we have to focus on the homestand coming up, and a big one indeed before Thanksgiving for the Sharks. They are home to Washington on Saturday. We will talk about more about that and what that is going to include for our program on Saturday night and the weekend. Monday against Ottawa, or as some people like to call Ottawa.
Is that right?
It's an inside Ottawa.
That's probably how Jeff Ponder on our show pronounces it. He mispronounces cities and towns all the time.
And then on Black Friday, Toronto. If you knew my girlfriend and how she likes to pronounce San Francisco Giants players, well, yeah, it's pretty bad, but it's a good laugh at it too.
Yeah, you ever been doing a show and a fairly new player in the league, last name, you're like, oh man, how do I pronounce this?
Every time I do this,
yes,
and you're like, and you say it and it just sounds wrong, and you're like, somebody correct me, please. I don't sound like an idiot.
That's what the chat's for.
Yes,
we'll just do that regardless.
Right? Yeah.
We pronounce the name wrong, and then Kevin Lacey, one of our good co-hosts, pops up and it's like, no, it's Ivan Yuzhenkov, and it's like, that doesn't even look like that in the back of the jersey, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I've seen his name, I've heard his name said, but saying it yourself is somehow harder. It's like I got to reproduce what I hear, and sometimes it doesn't come out the way you hear it. It's odd,
right? Yeah, it just is like, oh man. Moving on to some more of the comments. Kevin LeBanc, who's been on the 4th line, he let me pull up here. Played 12-24, so a little bit more of a bump in tonight's game. I thought there were plenty of plays where we could have gotten a call, but we have to keep pushing. Push it real good. We needed to play like we did in the first period. Those last 2 weren't our brand of hockey. Al, I would definitely have to say so, but I mean,
he's on the 4th line. Honestly, and he's kind of in the coach's doghouse right now. He's kind of been on the 3rd and 4th lines. Recently demoted to the 4th line. Either he's just kind of lost the confidence that he had a couple of years ago, or this hasn't been the most productive start for him going forward. He just doesn't seem like the same player right now. And I think putting him on the 4th line is just a message to him that, hey, you're going to still be on the team, but you need to just pick up your game a little bit more.
Yeah. And let's hope it can pick it up in a big way, because he needs it, and so do the Sharks. When he's on his game, he is on it, and that helps them all around. And of course, secondary scoring. Let's be honest. If you're going to be on the 3rd and 4th line, he can help contribute in some form, in some way. As for the penalty that he took, it was just a fast play. We kind of ran into each other, nothing intentional. And that's what he's saying after the post game there. But for Bugner, he kind of said that we were headed into a hornet's nest with the Blues losing 4 straight, and he's like, We can't dwell on this. It was a desperate team, and we have another one waiting for us essentially in Washington. The Blues were desperate and came out hard. We had good looks early and didn't capitalize. We couldn't get a power play call. We got worn down the kill and couldn't catch up.
I don't know. I mean, like, Hornets Nest, and you have the Blues are losing the last 4 games, but like, I thought they just didn't match up well against the Blues' height, and that was more just getting more rebounds to the net, creating more offensive chances in that zone. They seem like they physically worn out, the Sharks, and they couldn't match them either by speed or like really the only times tonight were these long stretch passes that like Hurdle could have scored a goal, Dahlen could have scored a goal, or even Timo could have scored a goal, but like, this is still not a good 5v5 team. Like, they really need to use their speed, and yeah, the Blues matched them.
I think the Blues tonight, they as far as like how they played recently, it was good from my perspective, to see them play with intensity from the get-go through almost the entire game. So that was something that was lacking, intensity and focus that they just didn't seem to have. They lollygagged through the Arizona game, to be honest, and that was weird. And I was very curious to see how they were going to come out and play in this game. And there was the intensity was there. The battles on the boards, the quickness, I don't want to oversimplify it, but their passes were connecting at a much higher rate than in previous games. So they were focused. So it was. It kind of came together a little bit in this game for them. So that was probably one of the biggest differences. Controlling the play, controlling the puck, getting the shots on net. So kind of different tonight.
And kept throwing pucks on net like crazy. 48 shots. Some of them are bound to go in, and sure enough, they did. Sharks really couldn't guster any momentum. The Blues, credit to them, gave it right back to them in that one. Let's go through some of the comments in the chat here. Sharks last. Lacey is the Rusanowski of Teal Town. Yes, he is very on it with the pronunciations for sure. Burge 7F91. We won't get to them till December, but I want to see the Sharks play Anaheim now and see how they stack up. Anaheim, like we said, battling with Edmonton for first place. Which is something.
If you had that going in, I want to see the tweets. I want to see either a video. I don't believe you, but
I just hope you put money down on it.
Eventually Anaheim's talent was gonna show up. They just a lot of great first round picks that were gonna make their way into the league. Even like last year, where they still had a high draft pick. If things click for Anaheim, they're going to be really good for a while. And yeah, the talent just shows on ice.
Well, I'll ask you this. You just responded to it, but
I did.
But how about a trade of Vander Kaden for Vladimir Tarasenko? So, or better yet, before you pass on the trade, let me ask you this: if he was on your team with everything that had gone down over the summer, what would you like the Blues to do if Vander Kane was doing this with your team?
Cut ties with. If he was on the Blues, I'd like. It's best if he just goes elsewhere. Waive, buyout. The Blues have only bought out one contract in their entire history. It was Jay McKee a long time ago. And they don't do that kind of thing. And I would be, if this had happened and he was on the Blues, I'd be like, you know what? And knowing the kind of player that Kane is, he's just had some issues with, with teammates and things in the past. And I'm like, if you believe in locker room cancers affecting play, which some people do, some people don't, I think that's overblown for the most part. But I as a fan, I wouldn't want him on my team. I said, you know what? Let's just cut ties. Let's use. If we can move him to somewhere else. What's his name? Went New York The Rangers let him go. What's his name? And Carolina picked him up.
D'Angelo.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, he got picked up, and he was a problem. So I mean, maybe somebody will want him. I don't know. Hey, if you're talented, if you can play, and you're not blackballed, I mean, somebody might take you. But you think he has trade value? I mean, what do you guys think? Do you want to see him back? Do you want him to
No.
No,
Okay.
I think the very slim percentage of Sharks fans would want him back with the team, especially how they were gelling before the COVID outbreak. I think they were really looking really sharp and was speaking plenty, and almost like they were Al, correct me if I'm wrong, almost like sending messages like, we're good, we're fine right here, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, like that Kevin Kerr's article, excuse me, about how the Sharks, didn't put their names on it, but they didn't want him back on the team. And I'm trying to just see this from Kane's perspective. Like when he got here, Thornton, famously picked him up. And at that time, you still had Thornton, Pavelski. You had really good locker room. And, Thornton went to Toronto next year, and then now he's in Florida, but also Thornton has kind of not been playing games. So that's kind of the point is that the locker room has not been the same since that 2019 Western Conference Finals. And I think if you are going to make a bid for Kane, you need some veteran leadership, something that you can basically, chaperone the talent that he has, because he's shown it in flashes. Like last year, he was the most consistent Shark, but the team still wasn't that good.
It's a shame too, because he's a talented player.
Yeah,
I mean, he can play. He can really play. And to be honest, I mean, the whole back and forth between him and Reeves, that was fun, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's good stuff. But I mean, now it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know who would want you, but surely somebody would take him.
Yeah.
I do not want the Sharks to buy out Kane's contract. You already have Jones's, buyout already on books. I honestly would just keep him off the bench, keep him. I just
in the press box.
Press box, excuse me. But just I don't like buying out players because they're a bad fit, because that just hurts you long term.
Yeah. And you think, I mean, even if obviously you probably wouldn't get fair return in a trade as far as talent goes, necessarily. You might be looking at, prospects or something, right? So, I mean, or picks, maybe. But
I can't see a cup contender taking him. The Sharks would have to retain 50% of that contract, even make it reasonable. That contract is also an issue because it's $7 million for the next 7 years.
It's a lot.
Hang on, let me pull it up here. I have it right here. It is. Oh, where is it? Now
The point is, it's just a long contract for the next 6 or 7 years.
7 million through
24, 25.
Yep.
Yeah.
So after this season, 3 more at 7 mil. So,
I mean, a team like the Rangers. I'm not looking at salary caps. I don't know who can afford him. I'm thinking like a big city, a big market, Toronto, New York, could handle him. Could absorb the. Although the Rangers did cut ties with D'Angelo. So
yeah, and he's third on the team. AJ's pointing out third on the Canes with 14 points in 14 games.
Right. No, he's having a good season, and he's a good player. And that's the thing. He's a good player, and that says a lot that New York just said no, leave.
Yeah. Let's trade him to Chicago, because that's a good place for all Firestorms to go.
Yeah, why not? Him and Kane. Why not? Just 2 train wrecks.
Why not? Why not? I mean, come on.
PR wise.
Yes.
PR wise. Train wrecks.
So, quickly in the chat, in the scores right here, Winnipeg and Edmonton tied at 1-1. It looks like they're on the verge of going into overtime. However, Connor McDavid has taken a double minor high sticking call, so that should be interesting. But there was no score until like 6 minutes ago when Ehlers scored, and then 25 seconds later, McDavid scores. So good one there. Some other scores in the Pacific. Coyotes and Blue Jackets are about to go into overtime, tied at 4-4. The Golden Knights are up 2-1 on the Red Wings. Zach Whitecloud has 2 goals in this one. I don't know why it says 2-1. They have 4 goals listed here in the second period. So obviously a typo. Thank you, NHL.com. Ducks and Hurricanes, 2 of the best teams in the NHL, going at it right now. 1-1 after 2 periods. Troy Terry has scored again, his 12th of the season there. Calgary shuts out Buffalo 5-0. Mangiapane with a pair of goals. So does Johnny Gaudreau on that one. And, of course, Predators and Senators were postponed. Wild take out the Stars. They're obviously frustrated by losing to the Sharks. 7-2, the final for Minnesota in that one. In a shootout, Lightning beat the Flyers 4-3. Panthers beat the Devils 4-1. That's without Alexander Barkov. The Penguins score a touchdown on the Montreal Canadiens, 6-0 in that one. And the Rangers lose to the Leafs 2-1. Morgan Riley with both goals in that one. So yeah, that's it for your wraparound there. But in case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, always available at tealtownusa.com. So, Saturday night, the Sharks take on the Washington Capitals. It's their Hockey Fights Cancer night, and we're going to do something special. And Al, I know I haven't told you about this, but and Kurt, I know you're just jumping on here, but we're going to do something special here. We always ask for donations on Venmo to do the wraparound here, or you do the super chat. But what we're going to do is every donation that we get through Venmo on the game against Saturday night against the Capitals, Sunday night against for the Pucknologists with HA and Jurek, and then the Monday's game between the Sharks and the Sens, we're going to take those 3 games, whatever we get on Venmo, we're going to donate to Hockey Fights Cancer. Now, the catch is we're going to do this with, I think it's called 15 Seconds of Fame. They're running a raffle. And if one of our tickets win, the people that had donated, we're going to put into a random draw. And if we win with a slight chance, let's put it, be honest here, it's a slight chance, but it's a decent chance. That winner could possibly win. I'm trying to make sure we're not getting this really hyped up here because there's no guarantee for it. But there's a possibility that if one of our tickets is drawn to be a winner for this raffle from 15 Seconds of Fame, it could be a ticket and accommodations to the NHL All-Star Game in Las Vegas.
Nice.
Very nice. So, and this is something that I was hoping we could possibly do for this, and then hopefully for Hockey is for Everyone in February. But so Venmo donations at Teal Town USA starting Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for our shows will go to a great cause, and we would appreciate if you could help us out with that. We would say don't try to do the super chat because we don't get the full amount from YouTube. So Venmo would help us out big time. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we hope that you join us for that and help us donate to Hockey Fights Cancer because it's I know it's a big thing for all of us. We've definitely all have been affected by cancer in some form, and we would love to help out in some form.
That's awesome.
So with that, final thoughts and where the people can find you, Mr. Curt Price.
Yeah, we do our show. Our live show is we don't do it after every show like you guys do. We don't have the dedication that you guys do to the.
Oh, stop it!
You're being too nice. We'll hand it to you, though.
We do ours on Tuesday or Wednesdays, whenever night the Blues aren't playing, and we're live just like you guys. Same concept that as far as that goes. And we're at LGB Radio on Twitter, letsgoblues.com on the web, and we do the fan interaction like you guys do on YouTube. So it's a lot of fun, and we have a blast.
And Al.
You can find me at Twitter, Al Martinet. I'm always talking hockey. Again, Washington, it's going to be a tough game. Simply Ovechkin. And the Capitals are coming in pretty hot lately. They kind of need to get going because they're kind of falling behind the rest of the teams in the Pacific. But this homestand could be kind of critical for the rest of the season going forward. You can find me on Twitter, Al Martinet. I'm always talking hockey.
All right. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. If you're going to be at the game on Saturday night, I will be in Rockin' the Lavender, so come and say hi. So be on the lookout for there. AJ saying, hey, Curt, make sure you promote us on your next show. Indeed. AJ, I know you just tried to call. If I misspoke, please, by all means, let me know how I had another enforced error. For sure. which
happy to promote you guys on the show. No problem.
Absolutely. So we'll be back with you Saturday night for Sharks and Capitals. That's a 7:30 start, so the Sharks are back at home. Sunday night, Pucknologists at 7 p.m. And of course, after the game for Monday night for Sharks and the Senators. Those 3 nights will be our Hockey Fights Cancer donation night. Damn it, AJ, you called earlier. I just saw that, and now it's not picking up. Dang it. Give me a buzz. Give us a thumbs up. Give us some comments in our chat along with our YouTube, and please help us support the show. We appreciate each and every one of you there. So until Saturday night, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. The conversation now jumps over to our Discord channel, so join us over there, and we will see you Saturday night following Sharks and Capitals. Good night, everyone.